Hi guys, this is Mrs. Doll and I'm here to help talk about the aha moment, that signpost that you've learned about just a little bit, and we're actually going to put it into practice. If you remember from your notes, the aha moment is when you're reading and suddenly a character realizes something, understands something, or finally figures something out. And then you want to stop and ask yourself, how might this change things? And remember, that answer to that might lead to us figuring out the problem and the conflict, or maybe even the theme because a character learns a life lesson. And we're going to see a couple of those things in our practice today. You're going to need either your OneNote or the hard copy of the text. I'll also have it here, but I'm going to want you to write on it. Um, but let's just start with real life aha moments. You walk into the classroom, everybody's studying, like they got their books out and they're studying, and you realize, oh my word, there was a test today and I forgot. That's an aha moment. And it's going to change things because it's going to change you. You may get nervous, your heart might beat harder. You might quickly sit down and start studying because normally you'd be chit chatting with your friends, but man, you realize, oh my gosh, I didn't study for this test, right? It's going to change you because you've noticed something. So that's kind of where our aha moment comes from. I want you to think about that. It's when a character learns something, realizes something, figures something out, and it's changing them. That's our key there. Okay. Some ways that you might notice this in the text. An author might use the word suddenly I realized, or in an instant I saw it. It came to me in a flash. Now I know, or I finally understood, right? Those are going to be some clues, but they're not always going to be the same. So you have to be careful as you're reading for an aha moment. They can be easy to spot, but they can also be difficult because sometimes it's not obvious right away that they've figured something out. So let's go ahead and take a look. We are going to use a story called Crash. It's from a novel, so it's a whole book. I would highly recommend it. It's funny, it's heartwarming. It's by one of my favorite authors for your age, Jerry Spinelli. And it starts out at the very beginning of the story. We're going to pick up towards the beginning of the story when these two boys meet. And they're like 5, they're like preschoolers. And our narrator, his name is Crash. That's his nickname. And then he meets for the first time Penn, but we don't know his name yet. So if you'll follow along, read the text, I'm going to read and do as I've always done, where I'll model finding the signpost and everything, and then I'll kind of slowly relinquish it to you. Here we go. It was a sunny summer day. I was in the front yard digging a hole with my little shovel. I heard something like whistling. I looked up. It was whistling. It was coming from a funny-looking, dorky little runt walking up the sidewalk. Only he wasn't just walking regular. He was walking like he owned the place, both hands in his pockets, sort of swaying la-dee-da with each step, strolling and gawking at the houses and whistling a happy little dorky tune like some Sneezy or Snoozy or whatever their names are. And he wore a button, a big one. It covered about half his chest, which wasn't that hard since his chest was so scrawny. So here he comes, strolling, whistling, gawking, buttoning, dorking up the sidewalk. My property. And all of a sudden, I knew what I had to do. Like there was a big announcement coming down from the sky. Don't let him pass. Okay, I kind of hope you caught it. But if you didn't, you're probably noticing that it says, and all of a sudden, in that final paragraph. All of a sudden. And remember, when an author gives us that clue, we want to stop and pause and think. Here's an aha moment. How might this change things? I feel like I have a pretty good guess. The narrator, which is Crash, sounds pretty like a little tough kid because he's pretty much making fun of Penn Webb, right? Funny looking, dorky little guy. So my guess is I can just picture this little kid thinking he's all that, stepping out in the middle of the sidewalk and staring down this dorky little kid, right? Maybe he's going to confront him. That's what I'm predicting might happen. I may be wrong, but I'm going to keep reading to find out if I'm right or wrong. It's no big deal either way, right? But the fact is, I noticed that the character said, and all of a sudden, I knew what I had to do. And then you can even see where Jerry Spinelli gives us more clues, like there was a big announcement coming down from the sky. Don't let him pass. So he's going to step in front of him somehow, or stop him somehow. I just am not sure how. Is he going to step in front of him? Is he going to do something mean like trip him or throw something at him. I don't know, but I'm predicting. So here we go. Let's take a look at the second one. Now we've moved further along, like years down the road in the book, and this is when Crash and Penn are in a race at school together. Like they're on the track. They're on the track team, and this is the two of them in a meet together against one another, but also at the same school. Follow along with your eyes, see if you can spot the aha moment. The stands were empty. A school bus moved in the distance beyond the football goalpost. Under the crossbar and between the uprights, like in a framed picture, stood three people. For once, Webb's parents didn't look so old, not compared to the man standing between them. He was shorter than them, and real skinny, like the prairie winds were eroding him away. No cane, no walker, just two legs. 93 years old. Maybe it was the Missouri River mud. The thought came to me. They would have liked each other, Scooter and Henry Wilhide Webb III, two storytellers, both from the great flat open spaces, one a prairie of grass, one of water. Both came to watch when no one else was there. Okay, did you catch the aha moment? Oh, I bet you did. The thought came to me, right? He has suddenly realized something. So I want to stop because the author's giving me that signal. I'm going to stop and think about it. And my anchor question is, how might this change things? More specifically, how might this change Crash in this story? So he has this thought that they would have liked each other. I'm going to explain to you that Scooter is Crash's grandfather, whom he loves dearly. And then there's Henry Wilhide Webb III, who is Penn Webb's great-grandfather. And what Crash is saying right now is, both of them came to watch when no one else was there. I wonder how that's going to change things. Well, you know, something tells me that if I were to take a guess, that maybe there's a chance that Crash is going to start to realize that Penn Webb is kind of like him, even though all these years he's thought we're so different. They both have these grandparents who are awesome. All right, let's keep going here. Sorry, I feel kind of lost. Lost my place. Okay. Let's keep going with the next section. So this time I want you to have your pen or paper ready and be ready to mark the aha moment. It's a little more difficult to find in this one, I think. Okay? Why exactly was he here? Did he know about me? Did he know his great-grandson could not win the race off and so would not run in the Penn relays? I wonder if Webb felt safe in his great-grandfather's bed. The cinder track crunched under my feet. There were 5 of us in the race. Me, Webb, 2 other 7th graders, and a 6th grader. The coach put us in lanes. Me and Webb were side by side. Again, he hadn't said a word to me all day. We milled around behind the starting blocks, nervous, shaking out our arms and legs, everything as quiet as if the coach had already said, "Ready." The other team members, jumpers, throwers, distance runners, had all stopped their practicing to watch. A single hawk, its wingtips spread like black fingers, kited over the school, and suddenly I saw something. A gift. A gift for a great-grandfather from North Dakota, maybe for all great-grandfathers, but the thing was, only one person could give the gift, and it wasn't the great-grandson, not on his fastest day alive. It was me. I hated it being me. I tried not to see, but everywhere I looked, there it was, the gift. Okay, before I tell you, I want you to pause me and jot down the aha moment that you spotted and how you think it's going to change things. Okay. All right. It was a little tricky. I hope you found it. Look at the paragraph that says the other team members, jumpers, throwers, distance runners, and keep going because after that it says a single hawk, its wingtips spread like black fingers, kited over the school, and suddenly I saw something. Right? Suddenly I saw something. There's my aha moment. So how did this change things? Right? What did this do? Well, they're at this huge big deal race. And I'm noticing that Crash is starting to realize that he can give a gift to PennWeb's great-grandfather, the gift of seeing his grandson win one of the biggest track meets that he could run at his age. And that's where they are right now. And Crash hates that it's him, but he sees it, the gift, right? And so now I'm going to ask myself, is this going to change Crash? Is Crash going to let PennWeb win? That's the question. What is he going to do? What does he see as the gift? Is that what it is to let him win? Is it to hand him a physical gift? I really don't think so. They're at a track meet. So hopefully you got some of those. Okay? All right. Let's move on to the next one because I'm running out of time here on the timer and I don't want to use too much of your time. All right. So let's see what happens next. "Let's go, boys," said the coach. A voice closer to me said, "Good luck." It was Webb, sticking out his dorky hand, smiling that old dorky smile of his. No button. I shook his hand, and it occurred to me that because he was always eating my dust, the dumb fish cake had never won a real race and probably didn't know how. And now there wasn't time. "Don't forget to lean," I told him. His face went blank. The coach called, "Ready." I got down, feet in the blocks, right knee on the track, thumbs and forefingers on the chalk, eyes straight down, and right then, for the first time in my life, I didn't know if I wanted to win. "Set." Knee up, rear up, eyes up. The coach says the most important thing here is to focus your mind. You are a coiled spring ready to dart out at the sound of the gun. So what comes into my head? Ollie, the one-armed octopus? He didn't disappear till the gun went off. I was behind, not only Webb, but everybody. No problem. Within 10 strides, I picked up 3 of them. That left Webb. He was farther ahead of me than usual, but that was because of my rotten start. At the halfway mark, where I usually passed him, he was still ahead, and I didn't know if I wanted to win. I gassed it. The gap closed. I could hear him puffing like a second set of footsteps. Cinder flecks from his feet pecked at my shins. I was still behind. The finish line was closing. I kicked in the afterburners. 10 meters from the white string, we were shoulder to shoulder, breath to breath, grandson to great-grandson, and it felt new. It felt good. Not being behind, not being ahead, but being even. And just like that, a half breath from the white string, I knew. There was no time to turn to him. I just barked it out. "Lean!" He leaned. He threw his chest out. He broke the string. He won. All right, that's the end of this section. I hope that you were underlining passages as I was reading, that you caught there were aha moments, because there were actually a couple here, phrases or words that showed you the aha moment that Crash had. So now what I want you to do is pause me and go ahead and look at, I want you to write down the aha moment and then jot down the answer to the anchor question. How's it going to change Crash? Okay, you're coming back. So let's kind of talk a little bit about some possibilities, okay? Crash has realized that PennWeb can't win the race on his own, but he doesn't have time to teach Penn how. So that was one of the aha moments, was towards the beginning of the reading where it said, and right then, for the first time in my life, I didn't know if I wanted to win, right? So that's a moment there. So how's that going to change Crash? Is that going to change him internally? I think yes, right? And it shows that Crash is growing up enough to see that winning may not be the most important thing at this point. And I bet almost all of you spotted the most obvious aha moment of all, close to the end of this chapter. When authors use language like "I knew," that's a clear indication that the character has figured something out. How will this change things? Right? So you want to talk about that. So you predict, how are Crash and Penn going to become friends? Or is Crash going to walk away and pretend this never happened? Like, I want you to think about it. I hope that you took some time to write these things down and give it a try, okay? So we've been practicing the aha moments. I want you to take a moment to really reflect on what you've learned from the lesson. Be sure to think about what it means, what to look for in the text, and what the anchor question is. As you read in your own books, watch for aha moments. Make a note, either in your reading log or on a sticky note, that you can place in the book. All right, I'm hoping these signposts are starting to come together for you. We'll talk to you soon.